What is up, gamers? We got some more deck techs for you. This one, I think you might like this one. I put a lot of work into this one. I call this one Demonstrate Demolition, aka show 'em how to lose. All right, you're gonna be thinking, who are the commanders? All right, we're gonna be running the 12th Doctor. Okay, he's 5 mana, bit of an expensive guy, but he's kind of our centerpiece. You really don't want this guy to die. You kind of need him, but we're mainly looking at his first ability. That says, the first spell you cast from anywhere other than your hand each turn has Demonstrate, which means when you cast that spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it, and then a copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. And then whenever you copy a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on the 12th Doctor. Who cares about that ability? Mainly, we're focused on the Demonstrate ability. So we're taking Yasmin Khan, 4 mana. You get to tap, exile the top card of your library until your next end step you may play it. And so she's the companion. So we're just working with blue and red right now, okay? But it's mainly we're looking at Yasmin Khan for that exile thing that she can do, which is pretty good to have in the command zone. So what we're going to be doing, demonstrating spells from exile to give to our opponents. And we're going to copy some foul, absolutely foul things. That way they get them, and then hopefully we can cheat our way around it. That way we don't have to deal with it. And then let your enemies die to your own cheeky stuff, okay? So let's get into it. This is called the Kill Them, okay? Pact of Negation, Pact of the Titan, and Glorious End, okay? Pact of Negation, 0 cost, counter target spell, beginning of your next upkeep, pay 5, 3, and blue. If you don't, you lose the game. So if you're playing against anyone without blue, you just copy this, cast it from exile. You have to cast your own spell kind of thing, and then use Pact of Negation to counter it, because it'll fizzle weirdly. So you need them to be able to counter it. Whatever, you can demonstrate it, and then they don't have a choice. Demonstrate, they have to copy it. So they have to. So then if they don't have blue, they die. If they don't have a way to make blue mana, they die. So if they have treasures, they can get around it, but whatever. Same thing with Pact of the Titan 0. You put a 4/4 giant into play, and if you don't pay 4 and a red, you lose the game. Okay? And you're like, but we're gonna be paying these as well. Yes. But the idea is your opponent dies before you do. That way they die first and you win the game. Or you just have a very silly, or you have enough mana to get around it. Whatever. And then Glorious End. It's 2 and a red. End the turn. Exile all spells and abilities on the stack, including this card. The player whose turn it is discards down to his or her max hand size, damage wears off, and this turn until end of turn effects end. At the beginning of your next end step, you lose the game, alright? So the fun way Demonstrate works is that you're going to copy this spell, so you'll have 2 of it on the stack, but your opponent that you're picking, theirs will resolve first. So they'll end their turn, which means that your spells won't resolve, which means you won't have at the beginning of your next end step, you lose the game. So that just means they only have it, and you don't, and then at the beginning of the next end step, they lose the game, which is amazing and hilarious, and it ends the turn. You don't want to cascade into it, but you could, and it's really funny, and I love this card. This card's great in this deck. We have some more sillies. We have World Gorger Dragon, 3 red for a Nightmare Dragon, flying and trample. When it enters the battlefield, exile all other permanents you control. And then when it leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. So what happens is, your enemy gets their World Gorger, it exiles all other permanents they control, right? Then you get a World Gorger, boom, that guy enters the battlefield, exiles all the other permanents you control. Then your next one resolves, right? Puts another World Gorger Dragon down, exiling the other World Dragon, right? And then what happens is, because exile still counts for leave the battlefield, all your other permanents will come back in. So you'll have a World Gorger Dragon and all your permanents, which is amazing and super silly, and probably one of the more fun combos in here. We've also got Soul Gorger Org, okay? Trample. When it comes into play, you lose all but 1 life, and then when it leaves play, you gain life equal to the life you lost when it came into play, okay? So, you demonstrate it, give it to your enemy, okay? They have 1 life now, and then you hit them, and then they die. Fun. You will also have 1 life, but don't worry about it. Figure out a way to get around it, or end your turn before it. Whatever. There's a whole bunch of shenanigans. And we got Eater of Days as well. If you're like, this seems like a Beamtown Bullies, it is, but more fun, I'd say, because you also get your terrible monsters. So flying with trample, when it comes into play, you skip your next 2 turns. Okay. So you'll have double this. So you'll skip your next 4 turns, which is super crazy and awesome, and lovely, very lovely indeed. Super fun. There's some stuff we can do with it. So you're wondering, how are we going to cheat death? Because we have a lot of things that are going to kill us. Eater of Days. Well, look at that. You remember all those things that say at the beginning of your next end step? Yeah, you play this, you get 2 more turns, basically. You don't get to do anything unless you have some other shenanigans going on, which you could rightfully add, and I would recommend it. But your next upkeep will now be 2 upkeeps away. Or your next end step will now be 2 end steps away. Super good, super fun, kind of cheating. And we got Sundial the Infinite. 1 mana tap, end the turn. Activate this only during your turn. So if it's like you could respond, I'm pretty sure, to your upkeep, ending the turn in response to the upkeep trigger is what I mean. So you can end it so you don't have to, you will not be able to do anything, but you also won't die instantaneously. You can also do this before your like end step trigger or anything like that. You can also do this to exile the other things on the stack. So if you copy and give someone a terrible spell, then with your 2 triggers, your 2 demonstrates still on the stack, you can end the turn. And then you don't have to worry about copying those spells. So you won't have the terrible stuff going on, which is super fun. All right, you're like, how to make it work? All right, Mystical Tutor. Okay? On your turn, you Mystical Tutor for 1 mana. You put your target instant on top of your library. Okay? Then you exile it with Yasmin. Then you cast it. And then you demonstrate it. And then you double it. You give to somebody else. And then they die. So we're really going to be going with a lot of ways to make sure you get Mystical Tutor. Mystic Retrieval, which lets you do that a couple times. So you can return Mystical Tutor from your graveyard to your hand, cast it, put it on top after your draw. So you don't want to draw the card because you want to cast it from exile. So you want to be able to get it off the top of your library or into exile kind of thing. You can also flash it back as well, which is great if someone makes you discard your Mystic Retrieval, etc. Dizzy Spell also 3 mana. You discard it and then you search for Mystical Tutor, which is great. It's a tutor for the Mystical Tutor, which is super fun. We love Mystical Tutor. Super good. We've got even more. Experimental Frenzy. So this lets you look at the top card of your library at any time. You can play the top card of your library, and you can't play cards from your hand. So this means you're going to exclusively be hitting those demonstrate once per turn things. So you want to look at the top card of your library, see what it is, right? And then if it's something that you want to demonstrate, you'll demonstrate it, which is super fun. And yeah, you don't have a choice about the demonstrate trigger. You have to do it. Well, no, you don't have to do it, but it's only the first card you cast each turn. So I'd get a lot of those paradox things so you can get a lot of those triggers so that this deck has value besides killing your opponents because they might not like that, but it is super fun. We got the reality chip as well. You attach it to your doctor or Yasmin. You can look at the top card of your library, and then you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Super cool. You can just do this anytime. And then the same thing, we got Cemetery Illuminator. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. So I'd exile an instant or sorcery, or creature, etc. And you can look at the top card of your library at any time. And then once on each of your turns, you may cast a spell from the top of your library if it shares a card type. So this basically just lets you hit those triggers even more. And most of these are on the cheaper side, which I think is super fun because you can get a bunch of silly little triggers like that. Now we got some more value. Into the Time Vortex, you can Cascade, and it has rebound, so you get a 2 5-cost things theoretically. It could also just get Glorious End and you die, which is super super fun. A little bit of chaos, a little bit of gambling. You could just instantly die to your own thing. The rebound will trigger, so you can copy it and then give someone else Cascade, which is fun if you want. You also don't have to cast it from your hand if you don't want. Creative Technique, so this lets you demonstrate even more. So you just cascade into more things, which is cool. You can cast it without paying its mana cost, which is fun. And this is a may. You may cast it, so you might not die. Same thing, I guess, with Cascade. You may cast it, so you don't have to cast Glorious End, but you should, because that's awesome. And Creative Technique as well. And we got Throes of Chaos, so you can just retrace it. You just discard a land, which is great. Super great. This way you just, cascade into fun little things. You can cast all your cheaper spells and stuff like that. Super good. And then you can just get your cards out of your graveyard if you need it with all your retrace, instant sorcery, returning spells. It's good. I think this is super fun and super silly. Let me know what you guys think, but it's chaotic and good. But yeah, have a good one, gamers.